Welcome back, everyone, to another edition of Recruiting Wednesday here on the Westmoreland Sports Network. Jack Ridenour here, and I'm joined by state champion lineman for the Penn-Trafford Warriors and recent Case Western commit Garrett Moorhead. Garrett, thanks for joining us here today on WSN. First off, congrats on your commitment. How does it feel to make that decision?
It feels great. It was honestly a big decision that I've been working on getting done, and it's just a big weight off my shoulders. And I'm happy to have it all happy to have it all said and done.
Now, I want to start with why you decided on Case Western, and then also, have you decided on what you're going to be majoring in there?
Case really brings a lot to the table academically, and when I decided that I wanted to continue playing football, I really wanted to find a good balance between an academic school and a football program, and I felt that Case, really brought that, and it was just the perfect fit for me, and I decided on engineering, and I want to study material science and engineering, and Case, they excel very well at that academically.
Now, what was it about the football program that really drew you in? I mean, was it kind of a message that the team has, or maybe a belief about the team? I mean, what was it about football that drew you into the program?
Honestly, it was, my connection that I had with Coach Slush, their offensive line coach. We just really connected well from the get-go, and I didn't feel that with any other coach or program. When I was up there for a visit over the summer, I just really loved the campus. I got to meet the head coach, and it was just a great time, and I felt like a family, kind of like what I had here at PT.
Well, it's great, man. I mean, it's really nice that you, like you said, you're able to kind of adapt over into a new family environment that you're already coming from at PT, and you get to kind of immediately apply that right over to Case Western. I want to dive into this season a little bit with you because obviously a huge, huge season for you guys, winning the state championship. We'll get our way there. I want to start with the beginning of the season. Coming into the year, what was kind of the mindset for you and your teammates, and what was that mindset, and what mindset was established from day one of training camp?
The mindset is, every year for, Coach Wayne and the whole staff is, get everyone to buy into winning a state championship. Obviously that hadn't been done yet in PT's history, but that's the mindset we went into, that we needed to compete and win every game possible, and thus leading to a state championship.
Now, you all hit a little bit of a snag early on in the season. You win your first two games, and then you drop the next two. So you go on a little two-game losing streak, losing to Belle Vernon and Peters Township. Probably a pretty big turning point, or at least crossroads for your team during the season. How did your team rally through that period? I mean, what was something you guys needed to really correct to fix that during that period?
I think we had a young team, a lot of guys that were inexperienced, and just some simple mistakes. We had a lot of penalties, things that were holding us back from our side that, wasn't anything that anyone was doing to us. It was more so stuff that, the self-inflicted wounds, they killed us early on. But honestly, those two losses, they were a blessing in disguise, because what they did for us, I couldn't say that, it kind of humbled us and, brought us together even more than we were. And from there we took off.
Now, do you think in a weird way almost that, like you said, those two losses were a blessing in disguise? Do you think that if you guys had gone into the playoffs with an undefeated record, things might have been a little bit different for you guys?
No and yes. Being the underdog in a lot of the games that we played in, helped us bring an extra attitude. But with the group of guys that we had, I wouldn't, we're undefeated going to the playoffs. I don't see the result any different than what happened.
Well, it was an incredible season, and like I mentioned, we'll get into kind of the underdog mentality that surrounded your program that really, I think, helped you all out towards the end of the season. A big part of your all's success was obviously the dominating line that you were a part of at PT, and you had the pleasure of blocking for one of the top players in the Western Pennsylvania area, Cade Yacomelli. I mean, what's it like blocking for someone like that? I mean, you can just tell the way he's able to hit gaps and find holes, and he hits his stride. I mean, what's it like to essentially part the sea for the guy and really allow for those lanes to open up for him?
It was awesome. Cade is an outstanding athlete, but, even so, more so, he's a better person, I'd say. He does great in school, he's just all around just a great guy, and, one of my good friends. And to see, not only your teammate, but, your best friend, take off on a 85-yard touchdown run. I mean, I take so much pride in, being able to block for him and, make big plays like that happen.
Talk a little bit about the relationship that he established with you all on the line. I mean, I'm sure he probably was, or at least I'm assuming, communicated with you guys quite a bit. I mean, what were those conversations like about, whether it was during a game or during practice about, were there certain ways he wanted you all to block, or did he really trust you guys to open things up for him up front?
It was all trust. I mean, he knew when he could push us a little bit, but he respected that, we as individuals and as, a unit, that we were going to be able to get the job done for him. And, just the expectation that, that we're going to get it done and, everything's going to go our way.
Well, it clearly led to a ton of success. I mean, really, obviously him being a big part of this team, but like I mentioned, your entire line was a ginormous part of this team and arguably the centerpiece of the team. I want you to talk me a little bit through that Wpial Championship. You all win it, take down Moon, very dramatic game, especially towards the end. What was it like winning the Wpial, especially after all the years that you guys had made it to the championship but fell short? I mean, how much did this win mean for your team?
It was everything and so much more. I mean, it was a dream come true. You come, like we talked about earlier, you set these expectations and then, finally reach the goals and reach expectations that you created. I mean, it shows that the hard work that you put in, your whole life, all those summer days, it paid off, and then to go back and see the community and, everyone supporting us, it was, the best ever, to be honest.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure that was probably quite the celebration. What was that return back to school like that Monday?
It was amazing. So many kids just, it was just like the overall demeanor of the school. Everyone was in high spirits. Everyone was congratulating you. It just really, it brought everyone together. It gave everyone something to talk about. There may have been someone that, you don't normally talk about that came up to you and said something. And it was just, just people, creating, better relationships through something that we did.
Now, when you look back at your season after winning the Wpial, was there any certain point or any game that kind of stands out that might have been the tipping point and really jump-starting this run for you guys?
I just look back at the second half of the Woodland Hills game. I don't know why. That just sticks out to me. That just I feel from there. I mean, we put out our quarterback Carter, put out a very dominant rushing performance that game. And then Cade's breakaway touchdown from there. I mean, just the move he made. And then in my eyes, we didn't miss a beat from there.
Now, I'm glad you bring up Carter Green because this was his first year starting under center. And with you all being an experienced group, I mean, what kind of advice did he look for from you all? But then also, how was that relationship balanced out between you guys and Carter Green with him being a new quarterback?
Carter's so smart, and he is able to do things that I don't get sometimes. And it was just the relationship we had with him was, no different than what we had with Cade, and no different with anyone else on the team. Everyone just, we're so close with each other. It's truly a great team mentality.
Well, it sounds like the camaraderie on the team and kind of like you mentioned earlier on, the familial aspect of this entire program. I mean, it really seems to generate a lot of success onto the field. And you all carried that over from the Wpial into the PIAA state championship. You guys face off against Imhotep Charter. And I want to hear from you building up to that game that week before, and you all probably going into that with the underdog mentality. I mean, how did you all kind of use that to your advantage? And also, what were some conversations your teammates and your coaching staff were having that week before the game that you feel really kind of helped prepare you guys for that showdown with Imhotep Charter?
It was a normal week of practice. We went through, our normal, Monday through Thursday routine, and it was just, what you should do in that situation. Now, I will say that, there was some conversation amongst us teammates is, why not us? Why not us? And, I think that really, just go to show that, we're here, we deserve to be here. And, we have, we're we have the equal opportunity to win this just as they do.
Now, I need to hear from you. Talk me through the seconds really just after you all capture that title. I mean, what was that like? Obviously, emotions probably flying all over the place. Talk me a little bit through what the locker room environment was like after that, but then also just the bus ride home and not to mention the return back to Pittsburgh.
I mean, that whole night, I mean, it still hasn't even soaked in yet. I mean, I still think about it every day. I mean, it's one of the, proudest moments I have, just to be a part of something like that is just amazing. And I'll never forget that for the rest of my life.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure it's definitely something that you all will definitely look to and look back on for many, many years to come. Now, you're going to be getting ready to play at the collegiate level, obviously. With your recent commitment, how much has that kind of increased your level of focus that you're going to be trying to have going into the training camp and with the summer coming up as well at Case Western? I mean, how much has that kind of changed the way you go about preparing for the upcoming season?
It hasn't changed too much. Obviously, I won't be working out necessarily with my whole team up until I get to camp, but just working on anything I can. I'm definitely going to get be in the weight room as much as possible. One thing I'm going to look for is and better my footwork, increase my foot speed. Just something I think that I can improve on that will help me at the next level.
Well, you've really been around a massive amount of winning in your time at Penn-Trafford, and I want to hear from you. How do you plan on kind of bringing and applying that winning mentality over to Case Western?
It's just something that's that gets inbuilt. It's put into you when you go through a program like PT has, and I just tend to be myself. I don't want to do anything different. Bring what I have, what I have to the table, and push myself every day to be the best version of myself that I can be.
Well, Garrett, it's been an absolute joy to hear about your past season and also just to celebrate your recent commitment. Before I let you go, I have one final question to ask you, and I want to hear from you. What do you think is going to be your best trait that you'll be bringing to the football program at Case Western this upcoming season?
That's a good question. I've never been asked something like that. I would say I feel like my football sense on the football field, I look to outsmart you in any way possible, and I look to beat you. Sometimes I'm not faster than you. Sometimes I may not be, stronger than you, but I look to beat you or beat my, my individual one-on-one battles, outsmart you, make that right move, use the right technique. And I just want to use that in any way possible, to be the best I can be.
Well, Garrett, it's been an exciting season to say the least, and I know that's going to carry over that excitement into when you arrive at Case Western. Really appreciate your time. Thanks again for joining us here today on Westmoreland Sports Network. And as always, stay safe, stay well, and we'll chat soon.
Thanks. I appreciate you having me.